Good morning, I'm Judy Fleming, the Director of Healthy Acres Canada, and today we're going to talk about our juicers. But before we can start juicing, we need to get our vegetables ready. And we have our carrots here, and we have this gadget that's a carrot peeler. And I found from experience that if we put it into the sink or into a big bowl, it catches all of the stuff as we're peeling our carrots. And this peeler is great if you're doing a group of carrots of at least 10 to 20 pounds. So you pull it through, cut off your two ends, and carry on. So we want to get our vegetables ready. First, we've got our carrots ready. We're taking the tops and cutting them off, and we've washed all of our other vegetables, and we'll get back here in a second with all the vegetables ready to go. Now we're going to use the first juicer that I like to talk about, and that is the Citristar juicer. Now this is a different kind of juicer in that it's going to take the juice from our citrus fruits and pomegranates. The pulp is still going to be in it, so it's not the same as the other juicers, but it is a fabulous little gadget to have and saves an awful lot of time. It has a lid, so it keeps all the dust off, and it has two heads, one for your lemons and limes, the small one, and one for the bigger ones like your grapefruit and pomegranates. And then it has a basket that's got strain holes in it so that you can strain the pits and the pits don't get into the juice. And this goes down into and comes out in a little spout. And the spout, as you can see, I can have it down so that the juice is running out, or I can have it up. And when you're doing some juicing, for instance some lemons, we just hold the lemon down on it. You want to make sure you get all the juice out of that lemon. And you'll notice it's not coming down yet, but you just press that down and out comes the juice. And it works really well for your limes as well. Okay, so it's now if I was going to go on and use the same juicer to do some oranges and grapefruit, I would want to put this over top, and now it works well with the orange as well. And this really works really well if you've got 5 or 6 oranges that you want to make a fresh glass of orange juice. Okay, so when we're doing a big fruit like the pomegranate, we do need to have both the small gadget and the larger one that sits over top and snaps into place. Okay, and then we can just and I'm just pushing with my hand to make sure I get everything inside of this out of it. And then you just pull down, and here we've got this wonderful pomegranate juice. We're now going to do our vegetable juicers, and we've got our carrots and celery and cucumber and spinach. These are my favorite. They're very high in minerals, and vegetable juicers are our healers because of the high mineral count that we have from them. So we have our Hurom slow juicer, we have the Champion juicer, and over here we have our Green Star Elite juicer. And these three juices are all masticating juicers, and they are all working somewhat the same way. The Champion juicer, we're going to leave it to the end and do some juicing with it because it actually rotates at 1700 RPMs, so it's going pretty fast, and the juice that we get from this juicer we should drink within 4 hours of juicing. And of course you put all of the juice in the fridge after you've done the juicing. But the Hurom and the Green Star juicers, they both rotate at less than 200 RPM, so they're both slow juicers, and they give you really good juice that you can keep for up to 3 days and make yourself lots of juice to go for 3 days. So we're going to work with the Hurom juicer first. Okay, so we have the bowl, and the bowl has 2 spouts, one that the pulp comes out of and one that the juice comes out of. So we put this on and we snap it into place. And then we take the this little gadget here, and I find that it's easier to put your strainer, and this is the fine strainer. It also comes with a coarse strainer for doing fruits, but we are going to talk about the fact that we don't juice our fruits a bit later on, so we'll leave that aside. And you want to put this in so that it's in there and it's turning around. And it has all these little sprockets at the bottom that go in, and we want to take this triangle that's on the strainer, and we want to make sure that it matches with the triangle on the bowl. Okay, so we're going to, I find it's easier to put them in together than trying to put them in separately. Okay, then we take the auger, and the auger has sprockets on the bottom that match up with the sprockets there, and we put this in, and we just sort of let it drop into place, and then you should try turning it around to make sure it's locked into place, and you'll see that the basket is actually staying still, but the gadget around the basket is moving. So this is ready for us to put the hopper on top. And there's a little green arrow here and a green arrow here. Well, when those two snap together, it's in place. And then we have the tamper. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going to use your tamper pushing things down, because if you push things down like your carrots and your celery and whatever you're putting through here, you're going to be pushing too hard, and you could end up breaking the basket inside. So I'm going to suggest you don't use this. Instead, this is a vertical juicer that pulls things through by gravity, and just let it work on its own. I'm going to turn it on now. You'll see how quietly it works. Isn't that nice and quiet? We've got a basket to catch the juice and a basket to catch the pulp. We want to make sure we open this little gadget at the end here, because we want to make juice. So we want the pulp to come up this side and the juice on this side. I'll tell you what this is for later on. Okay, and it's going nice and slow, and if it fits in the hole, it works on its own. You don't have to do anything. It's pulling it down, whether you're having carrots or a soft cucumber. Now I have taken my cucumber and sliced it down, because the whole round cucumber would not fit in this hole. And we're going to put it down with the point first. And again, let it work on its own. Now the celery, you actually want to cut the celery up into smaller pieces, and I like using for my juicing all of the odd pieces of the celery that have the greens on it, because they don't look as nice when you're using celery for other recipes. And you don't want it to be much longer than a couple of inches, because you know what the celery's like, and we've got these strings. Well, these strings will get all wrapped up inside, so that's why we take the celery and we cut it up into smaller pieces. And I alternate between the soft celery and the hard carrot. So the carrot actually helps push and pull through the soft pieces of the celery, or the spinach. And again, when you're doing this, put the points down first and let it work on its own. You should not be shoving handfuls of spinach and shoving this down, because you're just going to end up hurting your juicer. So we let the spinach go through, and then we put a piece of carrot so that it now pulls the rest of the spinach through. We want to just shove our spinach in there. And again, we take something hard like the carrot and put it through, and it's going to help to pull. And you'll notice we've got the juice falling out the one side and the pulp falling out the other. And we're going to continue until all of the vegetables have gone through. As this is a slow juicer, you can do just about any vegetable. Very often with the juicing, I use whatever I happen to have in my kitchen. If I was using asparagus in a salad, I'll cut the end pieces off the asparagus, which are a little bit tough, and put them through the juicer, because I can get the juice from it, the valuable minerals from it, and not be trying to chew on the chewier pieces of broccoli, the stems of the broccoli as well. So the pulp is coming through, and it's quite dry pulp. It's really quite dry pulp, which makes really good juice. So we'll just keep going until we've got all of these pieces of vegetables through. You want to keep watching your baskets because this basket with the pulp will fill up a lot quicker, sometimes depending on how much pulp you have, than the one with the juice. So we have it in the open position, by the way, because we're making juice. And we're just going to turn this off for a minute because we want to get rid of the pulp. And the pulp I'm going to put in my compost garbage, and it makes really, really great compost. And then what we want to do is we want to take our big jug with a strainer, because I'm putting all my vegetables through, and the juice that I want at the end is, just close this up so it won't drip all over my counter. The juice I want at the end is a combination of all of them. So I'm going to pour the juice through my strainer because we want to get all the pulp out of the juice. Because the pulp needs to be digested if we have pulp. So we want to strain. And this is what I use my little tamper for. Just moving this around to get as much of the juice out of this pulp as possible. This is a really fine strainer. And all of the juicers come with different strainers. The Green Star juicer has this very fine strainer as well. And you'll find that if we just push down on the pulp, we get this wonderful juice. And at the end, once we have this full, we are then going to go carry on from there. So once we're finished, if you want, well, we'll take all this pulp out of here to get rid of this. And if you've got this, when I'm juicing at home, I'm juicing right next to my sink, so then I can just pull it closer to the sink and pour water through. Okay, so when you're at the end, you want to turn it on and pour a couple of glasses of water through. Make sure you've got both of your buckets to catch it, and you'll see that a lot of the pulp just came through the last minute here. And this is just going to make it a little bit easier for cleaning. So we're just going to wait for that to all go through. Okay, so we finished getting all the juice out of the pulp. And now we've got this wonderful pure juice. And we want to take our little glass 8-ounce jamming jars, the mason jars with the lids that seal, and we're going to put our juice into these. We want to fill it up, and if you don't have quite enough juice to fill it up, let's just see if we do. We do, I believe. Okay. You want to fill it up right to the top. And if you don't have quite enough juice, you can just put the last centimeter or so of distilled water in, because you want to have these to the very top so no air gets into the juice. And then we're going to put the lids on, seal them up tight, and put them in the fridge so that they stay nice and cold. And this juice was made with the Hurom Juicer, or if we had used the Green Star Elite Juicer, because it revolves at such a slow speed and there's no sharp blade, we end up getting wonderful juice that will last in our fridge for up to 3 whole days. So we'll get this all put away in the fridge, and then we'll come back and we'll show you how to use the other juicers. We're here with our Green Star Elite Juicer, and this is a slow masticating juicer, but it has twin gears in it. And I'll just take it apart very quickly so you can see the parts, the cover. And it has these latches that hold the rest of this together. This here, if you tighten it, it will press more juice out of the pulp. And if you leave it loose, it will allow thicker pulp to go through. This is our fine screen. It also comes with a blank, totally solid screen. And here's the twin gears. And inside these twin gears there's magnets. And when the two magnets revolve around each other, so as they turn, they produce negative ions. And negative ions help your body to absorb more value from the juice. So this is the plus of the Green Star Elite Juicer. These augers are very expensive. They are quite heavy. And they have these little dots, and you must make sure that you keep the dots together when the one dot inside the other two dots when you put this back together. And this part here pulls out as well, a little bit stiff being brand new. So we have with it a tamper for pushing things down, and with this juicer you do have to push down. We also have a screen, or a strainer I mean, so that we can strain the pulp out of the juice. It comes with a very good video and a little booklet that has a wonderful chart of all the parts and how to put it together. So this is a very good page to look at, all the different parts. Not all the parts are in every juicer. This is particular one is just for juicing, so it'll only have the juicing parts in it. It comes with a cleaning brush, so you can clean inside all those narrow spots and everything. So for juicing, you put the fine screen in, and we're going to juice most of the time vegetables. And it comes with a glass jug. You can also put your drip tray in. I don't always put my drip tray in, but it's to catch the drips. And then you need another container of your own. You can put this right up to your sink so that all the pulp comes out the end here, and the pulp will fall into your sink. Today we'll put this little glass bowl to capture the pulp as it falls out. The juice falls straight down into the jug below. And when we turn it on, you can hear it. And sometimes it squeaks. And don't worry if it squeaks. That's what happens with this juicer after a while. It does do some squeaking. So one thing we have to make sure is that we cut our vegetables up. Let me just move the Hurom out of the way. Remember the Hurom juicer, it pulled the vegetables whole right straight through. Well, with this juicer, you're definitely going to have to cut up your vegetables into, I call them finger-sized pieces. So we've got our carrots here, we've got our celery. Again, we cut it into 1 to 2 inch because of the strings. Then we've got our cucumber, and the cucumber, even though it's soft, we still have to cut it up in order to be able to push it through. It's more effort to push it through, the bigger the pieces are, and it's actually harder on the juicer. And this will do all the wheatgrass, all your vegetables soft and hard. It's a fabulous juicer for that reason. And remember, the twin gears, producing the negative ions as a result of the magnets, help your body to absorb maybe up to as much as 95% of the value from the juice. So let's turn it on and put this stuff through. So we can start with our spinach, and it's going to actually pull the spinach pretty well through on its own here. And then we're going to take our tamper and we're going to push down. Now the tamper has an arrow on it, and you want the arrow to point to the front of the juicer. And this is not a free-feeding juicer that does it on its own, so you're going to have to actually use your tamper to push down. And you'll notice the pulp will start coming out the end here, and the juice is falling into the center glass bowl. We're going to take some of our spinach, some of our cucumber, and you'd be wise to put your juicer on a tabletop. The countertop's actually a little bit too high for pushing down, and if I was doing juicing of 10 pounds of carrots, I would definitely move this juicer to a lower level. But I'm just doing enough just to show you what's involved. And we're going to take your pieces of carrot through as well. And if you've got a piece of carrot, cut the points, so that put the points down first. Don't put the broad part of the carrot down first, because that'll just make it harder on you and the juicer. So we're getting our pulp here. It's a little bit wetter, the pulp, but this is what we're going to be throwing into our compost pile. So the smaller you cut your vegetables, the easier it is on the juicer and on your muscles for that matter. So it might take a few more minutes to cut all these vegetables up, but it makes it a heck of a lot easier for doing the juicing. And that's how we can use the Green Star juicer. Now you're probably wondering, what would we use this solids blank screen for? Well, we want to use the juicing screen to pull the pulp away from the juice of the vegetables, and then we get this wonderful green vegetable juice. But if we wanted to make something like frozen ice cream, we can use our frozen bananas and our frozen berries, and we can make some wonderful ice cream type desserts, which are really, really good. But since this video is all about juicing, we're not going to show you how to do that right at the moment. So we finished making our juice using the Citristar juicer, and we still want to make sure that we strain the juice from this juicer as well. It will have very little pulp in it, but we want to get all the pulp out, because remember, the whole point of juicing is to take the pulp out so that when you drink the juice, it doesn't have to go through your digestive system. It just goes straight through the stomach walls into your bloodstream, and you get the value of the minerals and all of the good food that is from those vegetables. Now I'm going to put the juicer back together for you, and I want to talk about the fact that we have this lovely scrubbing brush that comes with the Citristar juicer, and it's for scrubbing and cleaning all your different parts. And your juicer should be as white as possible, and you'll notice that we just did the juice here, and our juice turned a very dark green, and most of this doesn't have any green color on it at all because we took the time and we scrubbed it in warm soapy water. You don't want to use really, really hot water, because hot will set these stains into your plastic. So you want to use a warm soapy water to scrub it right away. And all of these, this brush is perfect for cleaning all of these parts. And this little tiny, the end that's tiny, it goes through here so that we can actually scrub down in the middle of this as well. So it comes with a fabulous scrubbing brush to help you keep your juicer as clean as possible. I'm always amazed at how dirty some people's juicers are when they bring them in because they aren't working properly. Well, they will work better if you clean them, because when you don't clean it well, first off, all those minerals from the vegetables build up on your plastic and get absorbed into the plastic, and they actually do hinder the juicing. Plus, think of the bacteria that's in that plastic if you haven't scrubbed it clean. So my juicer, my home juicer, the juicers I use here at work are all nice and clean because we scrub them every single time we do the juicing. Okay, we're back again, and this time we have our Champion juicer out in front of us, and it comes with a manual, and as most of the manuals have, a list of all the different pieces that are inside. So this is the main motor of your juicer, and after you've cleaned it, before you put it back together, you should always take a little bit of coconut butter or coconut oil and oil your shaft, because this shaft is going to be spinning at 1700 RPMs. That's 1700 RPMs, which is pretty darn fast. And when you're spinning at that rate, if it's not oiled properly, the cutter or the blade will actually fuse on there, and you'll have difficulty getting it off. So we suggest you put a little bit of coconut oil on before you do your juicing. And I do it right after I've washed the juicer, so when I put it back together, it's all ready for my next endeavor. So we've got our cutter, our blade, and it's actually quite sharp. And it's rotating at 1700 RPMs, a very sharp blade. It is inside this small space, so it's going to actually cause some damage to the vegetables that you're juicing. It's going to also let air get into the juice because of the high rate of speed. So that's why this particular juicer is not as popular as the slow juicers for having juice that lasts. The juice from this juicer should be used up within about 4 hours of making the juice. And you will notice a huge difference in the quality of the juice from this juicer after 4, 6, 8, 12 hours. You wouldn't really want to keep it that long. So the first thing you do is we put the blade on, and then we take the body, which goes over top of the blade, and it has a hole in the bottom, and we're going to either use a screen for doing juicing as a very, very fine screen, or we're going to use the solid blank, which we're going to do today, and we're going to then use the screen holder. This is called a screen holder, and that's exactly what it does. It holds the screen in place. So we're all ready now to put this over top and slide it on to where you're going to start doing your juicing. In this case, we're not doing juicing, we're actually going to homogenize, so we're going to keep the whole food together. because this juicer, like the Green Star juicer, can be used for homogenizing, making that ice cream or desserts. It has a tamper so that you can push things down, and it comes with a fine mesh screen as well. So what we're going to try to do today is we're going to actually, it comes with a little jug to catch the juice, but we're going to put a bigger bowl underneath because we're going to try making coconut, some kind of a coconut pudding dessert. So it's a bit of an experiment, but we're going to have a bit of fun. Now I'm going to turn this juicer on, and it is a little bit louder than the other juicers. It has a very powerful motor, obviously, if it's rotating at 1700 RPMs. Okay, it's spinning it really fast inside, and we're going to take some of these pieces of the coconut and push them through. Okay, and we're going to continue doing that until we have all of our coconut ground up. Now, when you're doing juice with this, or making the frozen dessert, the ice cream with the frozen bananas, you have to be careful and hold the main part of the motor with your hand, because as it gets used longer and longer, it heats up. And we don't want to continue once it starts to heat up. We want to stop, give it a 5-minute rest so that we're not heating up our juice or whatever we're making as well. And it's just barely starting to get warm. And after I do all this coconut, I'm sure it's going to be quite warm. So we'll stop now and show you the end product afterwards. Okay, so we've made our juice, and I'd just like to conclude by talking about why would we juice. Well, there's many, many reasons to juice, and from my book, Full Day Menus, and there's a juice fast day here, let me just state the 5 reasons, the main 5 reasons. It gives you the highest nutrient value from your food, so it will boost your immune system. You can consume a lot of food easily in a short period of time. A glass of juice is equivalent to about a pound of vegetables. It cleanses toxins from your body. It gives you wonderful energy. And juicing gives your digestive system a much needed rest. So that's why it's important to do a juice fast day, where you just do juicing all day long using your juicer. And how do you get your best juice? Well, there are some things you can do to make better juice. Peel your root vegetables like your carrots and your parsnips, and get the dirt from the soil off of them. So you want to definitely peel them and wash them. Fill your containers up, our little glass containers, so that there's no air, so that it doesn't oxidize. Keep it in the cold fridge for up to 3 days. And strain the juice before you put it in your glass jars to eliminate the fiber, to get rid of as much fiber as possible. So we finished our juicing video, and we have our Citristar for making our citrus juicers, our Green Star juicer, and our Hurom Juicer, which are slow juicers, and they revolve at very, very slow speeds, less than 200. Matter of fact, they're even less than 100 RPMs. And this particular juicer, the Hurom Juicer, it is also a smoothie maker. When you close this little chute, it will, and press this to the close, you will actually be able to make some wonderful smoothies using this. So if you haven't yet bought a good blender, this juicer would be serve as 2 purposes, making your juice or making your wonderful smoothies. And then we have the Champion Juicer, which is one of the oldest juicers out there, really. It's a fabulous juicer for making juice, but again, because it revolves at 1700 RPMs, you can't keep the juice for as long. But both the Green Star Elite Juicer and the Champion Juicer are also fabulous dessert makers. By using your blank screen or your solid screen, you end up getting wonderful ice cream-like desserts, or that coconut dessert that we made as well. And you'll see that on one of our Monday recipes. So thank you for joining us today and seeing about juicing.